Abduction and first contact. The stars twinkled innocently in the night sky as Jack Hawkins locked up his small electronics repair shop. It had been a long day of fixing smartphones and laptops, and he was looking forward to a quiet evening at home. Little did he know that his life was about to change forever. As Jack walked to his car, a brilliant blue light suddenly engulfed him. He felt a strange tingling sensation throughout his body, and before he could even cry out, the world around him vanished. When the light faded, Jack found himself in a vast metallic chamber unlike anything he had ever seen. Disoriented and frightened, Jack stumbled forward. The air felt different, thicker, with a faint scent of ozone. He ran his hands along the smooth, iridescent walls, marveling at that alien texture. "Hello," he called out, his voice echoing in the empty space. "Is anyone there?" As if in response, a section of the wall slid open with a soft hiss. Two tall, slender figures stepped into the chamber. Jack's jaw dropped as he took in their appearance. Their skin was a deep shade of purple, almost translucent, with intricate patterns that seemed to shimmer and shift. Large, almond-shaped eyes regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and caution. One of the aliens stepped forward, raising a hand in what seemed to be a gesture of peace. "Greetings, human," it said, the words somehow forming in Jack's mind, despite the alien's mouth not moving. "We apologize for the abrupt nature of your arrival, but time is of the essence." Jack swallowed hard, trying to find his voice. What are you? Why am I here?" The alien tilted its head, the patterns on its skin swirling faster. "We are the Zilvari, and we have brought you here because we need your help. Our entire civilization is at risk, and we believe that a human may be the key to our survival." Before Jack could process this information, the second alien approached, holding out a small glowing orb. "This device will help you understand our language and customs more quickly," it explained. "Please take it. We have much to discuss." Hesitantly, Jack reached out and touched the orb. A flood of information rushed into his mind, images, sounds, and concepts that were both alien and familiar. He gasped, staggering back as he tried to make sense of it all. I understand," he said, blinking rapidly. "You're facing some kind of crisis. But why me? I'm just a guy who fixes phones. What could I possibly do to help an advanced alien civilization?" The first alien, who Jack now knew was called Zara, smiled, an expression that was both familiar and utterly foreign on her alien features. "It is precisely because you are just a guy that we need you, Jack Hawkins. Your species has a remarkable ability to adapt, to think creatively in the face of adversity. These are qualities that our people have lost over millennia of technological advancement." Jack ran a hand through his hair, still struggling to come to terms with this situation. "Okay, let's say I believe all this. What exactly do you need me to do?" Zara and her companion exchanged glances before turning back to Jack. "Our queen, the center of our civilization, is dying," Zara explained. "She requires a specific type of energy to sustain her life force, an energy that we Zilvari can no longer provide. We believe that humans, with your unique biology and spirit, may be capable of generating this energy." Jack's eyes widened. "Wait, are you saying you want me to? What? Donate some kind of life force to your queen?" The second alien, who Jack now knew as Krell, stepped forward. "It's not quite that simple. The process is complex and potentially dangerous. You would need to undergo extensive training to learn how to channel and focus your energy in a way that would be compatible with our queen's needs." Jack paced the chamber, his mind racing. This was insane. Aliens, dying queens, mystical energy transfers. It was like something out of a sci-fi novel. And yet, he couldn't deny the reality of what he was experiencing. He turned back to Zara and Krell, a determined look in his eyes. "If I do this, if I help your queen, what happens to me? And what about Earth? Are we in danger?" Zara's expression softened. "We give you our word that no harm will come to you or your planet. In fact, if you succeed, we would be forever in humanity's debt. We could share technology and knowledge beyond your wildest dreams. Jack took a deep breath, weighing his options. On one hand, this was terrifying and completely outside his comfort zone. On the other, the fate of an entire alien civilization might rest on his shoulders, and the potential benefits to humanity were staggering. "All right," he said finally, squaring his shoulders. "I'll do it. I'll try to help your queen, but I have conditions. I want to learn everything I can about your people, your technology, your culture. And if at any point I feel that Earth might be in danger, I walk away. Deal?" Zara and Krell exchanged looks of relief and excitement. "Deal," Zara said, extending her hand in a surprisingly human gesture. As Jack shook it, he felt a tingling sensation, a spark of something powerful and ancient. "Come," Krell said, gesturing towards the open doorway. "We have much to prepare, and time is short. Your training begins now." As Jack followed the aliens out of the chamber and into the unknown, he couldn't help but feel a mix of terror and exhilaration. He was about to embark on the adventure of a lifetime, with the fate of two civilizations hanging in the balance. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he was determined to face them head-on. Little did Jack know that his journey was just beginning, and the true test of his humanity was yet to come. The Alien Queen's Challenge. Jack's head spun as he followed Zara and Krell through the winding corridors of the Zilvari ship. Every surface gleamed with an otherworldly iridescence, and strange symbols pulsed with light as they passed. Despite the translation orb's help, Jack felt overwhelmed by the sheer alienness of his surroundings. "So," Jack said, breaking the silence, "you mentioned training. What exactly am I going to be learning?" Zara glanced back at him, her large eyes blinking slowly. "The energy our queen requires is not simply physical, Jack. It is a combination of mental fortitude, emotional resonance, and what you might call spiritual harmony. Our training will focus on honing these aspects of your being." Krell chimed in, his tone serious. "It will not be easy. The process will push you to your limits, both physically and mentally. But we believe that humans have a unique capacity for growth and adaptation that makes you ideal candidates for this task." Jack nodded, trying to wrap his head around the concept. "And what happens if I fail? If I can't generate this energy your queen needs?" The aliens exchanged a somber look before Zara replied, "Then our civilization faces extinction. But we must not dwell on failure. We have faith in you, Jack Hawkins." "No pressure," Jack thought to himself, swallowing hard. They arrived at a large, circular chamber dominated by a massive holographic display. In the center stood a regal figure that Jack immediately recognized as the Zilvari Queen. Even as a hologram, her presence was awe-inspiring. Her form seemed to shimmer and shift, as if she existed in multiple dimensions at once. "Greetings, Jack Hawkins of Earth," the Queen's voice resonated through the chamber, both heard and felt. "I am Queen Zeltara, sovereign of the Zilvari. I thank you for answering our call in this dire hour." Jack bowed awkwardly, unsure of the proper protocol. "It's an honor, Your Majesty. I'll do my best to help, though I'm still not entirely sure how." The Queen's image flickered, and Jack could see the strain in her ethereal features. "Our species is facing a crisis, Jack. For millennia, we have evolved and advanced, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. But in doing so, we have lost touch with a fundamental aspect of our being, the raw, primal energy that once sustained us." She continued, her voice growing weaker. "This energy, which we called Kintara, is the lifeblood of our civilization. As Queen, I am the conduit through which it flows, nourishing our entire species. But now that flow has all but stopped, and I can no longer generate it myself." Jack frowned, trying to understand. "And you think I can help restore this, Kintara?" "We believe so," Queen Zeltara replied. "Humans possess a unique blend of intellect, emotion, and what you call spirit. This combination, when properly harnessed, could potentially reignite the Kintara within me and save our people." Jack ran a hand through his hair, feeling the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. I want to help, I really do. But this is all so far beyond anything I've ever experienced. How can you be sure I'm capable of this? The Queen's image seemed to focus more intently on Jack, her gaze piercing into his very soul. Because Jack Hawkins, I can sense the potential within you. Even now, untrained and unaware, you radiate an energy that our senses can barely comprehend. With proper guidance, you could become a beacon of Kintara, a force that could reshape the very fabric of our reality. Jack's mind reeled at the implications. He was just an ordinary guy from a small town on Earth. The idea that he could possess some kind of cosmic energy was almost laughable. And yet, standing here in an alien spaceship, facing a dying queen from another world, who was he to say what was and wasn't possible? "All right," Jack said, squaring his shoulders. "I'm in. What's the first step?" Queen Zeltara's image seemed to brighten slightly. "The journey ahead will be challenging, Jack. You will face trials that will test every aspect of your being. But know this, the fate of two worlds now rests in your hands. The Zilvari, and by extension humanity, are counting on you." With those ominous words, the Queen's hologram flickered and vanished, leaving Jack alone with Zara and Krell. "Well," Jack said, trying to inject some levity into the situation, "no pressure or anything, right?" Zara placed a comforting hand on Jack's shoulder, her touch surprisingly warm. "You will not face this challenge alone, Jack. We will guide you every step of the way." Krell nodded in agreement. "Your training begins now. Are you ready to push beyond the limits of what you thought possible?" Jack took a deep breath, centering himself. He thought of his little repair shop back on Earth, of the simple life he'd left behind. Part of him longed for that simplicity, but a growing part of him thrilled at the adventure ahead. This was his chance to make a real difference, not just in the world, but in the universe. "I'm ready," Jack said, his voice firm with newfound determination. "Let's do this." As Zara and Krell led him towards the training facilities, Jack couldn't help but wonder what challenges lay ahead. He was about to embark on a journey that would push him to his very limits, testing not just his physical abilities, but the very essence of what made him human. Little did he know that the true test was yet to come, a challenge that would force him to confront not just the alien, but the depths of his own humanity. Training and preparation. The days that followed were a blow of intense training and mind-bending experiences for Jack. The Zilvari training facilities were unlike anything he could have imagined. Rooms that defied the laws of physics, simulations that felt more real than reality itself, and exercises that pushed the boundaries of his mind and body. Jack's first lesson began in what Zara called the resonance chamber. The circular room was lined with crystalline structures that pulsed with a soft, blue light. As Jack stood in the center, Krell explained the purpose of their training. "The key to generating Kintara," Krell said, "is to achieve perfect harmony between your mind, body, and what you humans call spirit. This chamber will help you visualize and manipulate your inner energy." Jack closed his eyes as instructed, focusing on his breathing. At first, nothing happened, but as the minutes ticked by, he began to sense something, a warmth spreading from his core, tendrils of energy flowing through his body. "That's it," Zara encouraged. "Now, try to direct that energy. Imagine it flowing to your hands." Jack concentrated, picturing the energy moving as Zara described. To his amazement, he felt a tingling sensation in his palms. When he opened his eyes, he gasped. A faint, bluish glow emanated from his hands. "Holy, is this real?" Jack exclaimed, staring at his glowing palms in disbelief. Krell nodded, his alien features arranged in what Jack had come to recognize as a smile. "Very real, Jack. This is your first step towards harnessing Kintara." As the days progressed, Jack's training intensified. He learned to manipulate his newfound energy in increasingly complex ways, forming shields, projecting it outwards, even using it to influence the physical world around him. But it wasn't all about energy manipulation. The Zilvari understood that Kintara was intrinsically linked to emotions and experiences. To that end, they subjected Jack to a series of simulations designed to evoke powerful emotional responses. In one particularly grueling session, Jack found himself in a hyper-realistic simulation of Earth under alien attack. The sights, sounds, and even smells of destruction surrounded him. His heart raced as he watched familiar cityscapes crumble. "This isn't real," he muttered to himself, even as he felt the heat of nearby explosions on his skin. "Your objective," Zara's voice came through the simulation, "is not to fight, but to find hope in the midst of despair. To generate Kintara even in the darkest of circumstances." Jack closed his eyes, trying to center himself amidst the chaos. He thought of his family, his friends, all the people he'd left behind on Earth. He thought of the Zilvari, an entire civilization counting on him. Slowly, he felt the energy building within him, stronger than ever before. When he opened his eyes, the destruction around him was being pushed back by a sphere of pulsing, blue energy emanating from his body. The simulation faded, leaving Jack breathless but exhilarated. "Impressive," Krell said as Jack exited the simulation chamber. "You're progressing faster than we anticipated." But it wasn't all successes. Jack faced his fair share of failures and setbacks. There were days when he couldn't summon even a flicker of energy, days when the emotional toll of the training left him drained and questioning his ability to complete this mission. During one such low point, Jack found himself sitting alone in his quarters, staring out at the unfamiliar stars. Zara found him there, her presence a quiet comfort. "Doubting yourself?" she asked softly. Jack nodded. "What if I can't do this, Zara? What if I'm not strong enough? An entire civilization is counting on me, and I'm just me." Zara sat beside him, her alien features softening with empathy. "Jack, it is precisely because you are just you that we believe in you. The Kintara doesn't come from some external source of power. It comes from within, from the very essence of what makes you human." She placed a hand on his shoulder, the touch surprisingly warm and comforting. "Your capacity for hope, for love, for perseverance in the face of adversity, these are the wellsprings of Kintara, and in my time observing humans, I've never seen a species with a greater capacity for these qualities." Her words struck a chord in Jack. He thought about all the stories of human endurance and triumph he'd heard throughout his life. If humanity could survive and thrive through countless challenges on Earth, surely he could find the strength to face this one. With renewed determination, Jack threw himself back into his training. He pushed himself harder than ever, mastering techniques that had eluded him before. The Zilvari watched in amazement as he progressed, his control over Kintara growing stronger by the day. Finally, after weeks of intense preparation, Zara and Krell declared Jack ready for the final test, a direct audience with Queen Seltara herself. As they stood outside the Queen's chambers, Jack felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. He'd come so far from that night outside his repair shop, but the true challenge still lay ahead. "Remember," Krell said, his tone serious, "the Queen's condition has deteriorated further. The energy transfer must be precise and controlled. Too little, and it won't be enough to save her. Too much, and it could overwhelm her system." Jack nodded, taking a deep breath to center himself. "I'm ready," he said, surprising himself with the confidence in his voice. As the doors to the Queen's chamber slid open, Jack stepped forward, ready to face his destiny. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, and he was determined not to let either of them down. Little did he know that the greatest test of his newfound abilities and his humanity was yet to come. Unexpected allies. As Jack entered Queen Zeltara's chambers, he was struck by the stark contrast between the room's grandeur and the frail figure at its center. The Queen's once radiant form was now dim, her ethereal body flickering like a candle in the wind. "Jack Hawkins," the Queen's voice resonated in his mind, weaker than before but still carrying an undeniable authority. "You have come far in such a short time. Are you prepared for what lies ahead? Jack straightened his shoulders, meeting the Queen's gaze. I am, Your Majesty. I'll do everything in my power to help you and your people. As Jack approached the dais where the Queen rested, a commotion erupted outside the chamber. The doors burst open, and a group of Zilvari guards rushed in, led by a tall, imposing figure Jack hadn't seen before. Stop this madness, the newcomer bellowed. We cannot entrust the fate of our civilization to this human. Zora stepped forward, her usually calm demeanor replaced by fierce determination. General Vexilor, you overstep your bounds. The Council has already approved this course of action. The General's face contorted with rage. The Council is desperate and foolish. We should be focusing on finding a scientific solution, not relying on primitive alien mysticism. Jack felt a surge of indignation at being called primitive, but before he could respond, another voice joined the fray. That's quite enough, Vexilor. All eyes turned to the new arrival, a Zilvari female with intricate, swirling patterns on her skin that marked her as a high-ranking scientist. She strode into the room with purpose, her gaze fixed on Jack. I am Dr. Lyria, head of Zilvari Xenobiology, she introduced herself, and I believe this human may be our last best hope. General Vexilor scoffed. You can't be serious, Lyria. Your own research. My research, Dr. Lyria interrupted, has shown that humans possess a unique energy signature unlike anything we've encountered before. It's unpredictable, yes, but also incredibly potent. She turned to Jack, her large eyes filled with a mix of scientific curiosity and hope. I've been monitoring your training, Jack. The energy you've managed to generate, it's beyond anything we thought possible. I believe you may be capable of not just sustaining our Queen, but potentially curing her condition entirely. A hush fell over the room as the implications of Dr. Lyria's words sank in. Jack felt the weight of expectation pressing down on him, heavier than ever before. Queen Saltara's voice, though weak, cut through the tension. What say you, Jack Hawkins? Are you willing to attempt this, knowing the risks involved? Jack took a deep breath, centering himself as he'd been taught. He could feel the Kintara energy swirling within him, responding to his emotions. I am, he said firmly. Whatever it takes to save your people, and potentially bridge the gap between our civilizations. General Vexilor growled in frustration but was silenced by a look from the Queen. Dr. Lyria stepped forward, a small device in her hand. This will help stabilize the energy transfer, she explained, attaching the device to Jack's temple. But be warned, the process will be intensely taxing, both physically and mentally. You'll be directly interfacing with the Queen's consciousness. Are you sure you're ready? Jack nodded, his jaw set with determination. Let's do this. As Jack approached the Queen, he could feel the Kintara building within him. He reached out, placing his hands on either side of the Queen's ethereal form. The moment they made contact, Jack's world exploded into light and sensation. He found himself floating in a vast, star-filled void, the Queen's consciousness intertwined with his own. Streams of energy flowed between them, and Jack could sense the centuries of knowledge and experience contained within the Zilvari monarch. But he could also feel the creeping darkness, the entropy that threatened to extinguish this brilliant light. Jack focused, channeling the Kintara as he'd been taught. He poured every ounce of his being into the effort, his hopes, his fears, his determination to succeed. In the physical world, the onlookers gasped as Jack and the Queen were enveloped in a cocoon of pulsing blue-white energy. The room thrummed with power, the very air seeming to crackle with potential. Within the mental landscape, Jack fought against the encroaching darkness. He drew upon every lesson, every experience, every emotion he felt since being thrust into this extraordinary situation. The human spirit, resilient, adaptable, and fiercely determined, burned bright within him. As Jack pushed himself to his absolute limits, he felt something unexpected. The Queen's consciousness, strengthened by the influx of Kintara, began to push back against the darkness alongside him. Together, human and Zilvari, they fought against the entropy that threatened to consume everything. In a final, monumental effort, Jack unleashed every last reserve of energy he possessed. The mental void erupted in a nova of light, banishing the darkness in a wave of pure, life-affirming power. Back in the physical world, the energy cocoon surrounding Jack and the Queen pulsed one final time before dissipating. Jack stumbled backward, caught by Zara before he could fall. He blinked, his vision slowly clearing as he readjusted to his surroundings. What he saw took his breath away. Queen Saltara stood before them, her form once again radiant and strong. The room was filled with astonished murmurs as the Zilvari witnessed their monarch restored to her full glory. It worked, Dr. Lilia breathed, her scientific detachment momentarily forgotten in the face of the miracle before her. The Queen's gaze fell upon Jack, her eyes shimmering with an emotion he couldn't quite name. "Jack Hawkins," she said, her voice now strong and clear, "you have done far more than save me. You have given our entire civilization a second chance." As the implications of what had just occurred began to sink in, Jack felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. He had done it. He had saved the Queen and potentially changed the course of two civilizations. But as he looked around the room, at the awestruck faces of Zara and Krell, the begrudging respect in General Vexler's eyes, and the burning curiosity in Dr. Luria's gaze, Jack realized that his journey was far from over. The true challenge, bridging the gap between human and Zilvari, forging a lasting peace between their worlds, was only just beginning. The royal trial. In the days following Queen Zaltara's miraculous recovery, the Zilvari ship buzzed with a mixture of excitement, disbelief, and cautious optimism. Jack found himself at the center of it all, alternating between exhaustion from his ordeal and amazement at what he had accomplished. As Jack rested in his quarters, trying to process everything that had happened, he received an unexpected visitor. Dr. Luria entered, her eyes gleaming with barely contained scientific curiosity. "How are you feeling, Jack?" she asked, running a scanner over him. Jack chuckled weakly. "Like I've run a marathon while solving quantum equations in my head. So, not great, but alive." Dr. Luria nodded, studying the readings. "Your physical form is recovering, but the energy patterns within you, they're unlike anything I've ever seen. It's as if your interaction with the Queen has fundamentally altered your own Kintara." Before Jack could ask what that meant, Zara burst into the room, her usually calm demeanor replaced by obvious agitation. "Jack, we have a problem," she said without preamble. "The High Council is convening an emergency session. They're calling for you to undergo the royal trial." Dr. Luria gasped, her scientific detachment momentarily forgotten. "That's unprecedented. No non-Zilvari has ever—" "I know," Zara interrupted, "but after what happened with the Queen, they believe Jack may be the key to rejuvenating our entire civilization." Jack looked between them, confusion clear on his face. "Hold on, what's this royal trial? And why do I get the feeling I'm not going to like it?" Zara took a deep breath, composing herself. The royal trial is an ancient Zilvari tradition. It's a series of challenges designed to test a potential monarch's worthiness to lead. It hasn't been used in millennia, because our succession has been stable. But now they want to see if a human has what it takes to lead an alien civilization. Jack finished, the gravity of the situation sinking in. "But that's insane. I'm not here to take over, I just wanted to help." Dr. Luria placed a comforting hand on Jack's shoulder. "I don't think they expect you to actually become our ruler, Jack. But the trial would allow them to study your abilities more closely. And if you succeed, it would give you unprecedented authority to act as an intermediary between our peoples." Jack's mind reeled at the implications. He had come to the Zilvari ship to fix a problem, not to become embroiled in alien politics. But as he thought about the potential for peace and cooperation between Earth and the Zilvari, he realized the importance of this opportunity. "All right," he said finally, straightening his shoulders. "I'll do it. What does this trial involve?" Zara and Dr. Luria exchanged glances before Zara spoke. "There are three main challenges: the trial of mind, the trial of body, and the trial of spirit. Each is designed to push you to your absolute limits." As they made their way to the High Council chambers, Zara and Dr. Luria briefed Jack on what to expect. The trial of mind would test his problem-solving abilities and adaptability. The trial of body would challenge his physical endurance and mastery over Kintara. And the trial of spirit, well, that was different for every participant. The High Council chamber was packed with Zilvari dignitaries when they arrived. Jack recognized some familiar faces: Krell, General Vexler, and of course Queen Seltara herself. The Queen's eyes met Jack's, and he felt a surge of reassurance through their newfound connection. An elder Zilvari stepped forward, his voice resonating through the chamber. "Jack Hawkins of Earth, you stand before us as an anomaly, a being from another world who has demonstrated power our people had thought lost. Are you prepared to undergo the royal trial, to prove your worth not just to us, but to yourself?" Jack took a deep breath, centering himself as he'd been taught. He could feel the Kintara flowing through him, stronger and more controlled than ever before. "I am," he said, his voice clear and confident. The elder nodded solemnly. Then let the trial begin. What followed was the most grueling and mind-bending experience of Jack's life. The trial of mind thrust him into complex simulations, forcing him to solve problems that blended advanced physics with philosophical conundrums. Jack drew not just on his human education, but on the flashes of Zilvari knowledge he had gained during his connection with the Queen. The trial of body pushed his mastery of Kintara to new heights. Jack found himself navigating obstacle courses that defied the laws of physics, using his energy manipulation skills in ways he never thought possible. By the end, he was exhausted but exhilarated, having discovered depths to his abilities he never knew existed. But it was the trial of spirit that truly tested Jack's mettle. He found himself in a void similar to the one he had experienced with the Queen, but this time he was alone. Or so he thought. From the darkness emerged figures from his past: family, friends, mentors. But they were twisted, accusing, challenging his every motivation for being here. "Who are you to represent humanity?" his father's voice echoed. "You're no diplomat, no scientist, you're just a guy who fixes phones." "You'll doom us all," cried the voice of his childhood best friend. "Humans aren't ready for this kind of power, this kind of responsibility." Jack faltered, doubt creeping in. But then he remembered everything he had been through, everything he had learned. He thought of Zara's faith in him, of Dr. Luria's curiosity, of a hope he had seen in the eyes of the Zilvari people. "I may not be a diplomat or a scientist," Jack said to the void, his voice growing stronger with each word. "But I am human. We adapt, we learn, we grow. We face the unknown not with fear, but with wonder and determination. And if I can bridge the gap between our worlds, if I can foster understanding and cooperation, then that's exactly what I'll do." As Jack spoke, he felt the Kintara within him resonating with his words. The accusatory figures faded, replaced by a warm, golden light. When Jack opened his eyes, he found himself back in the High Council chamber, surrounded by awestruck Zilvari. Queen Seltara stepped forward, her eyes shimmering with what Jack now recognized as pride. "Jack Hawkins," she said, her voice carrying throughout the chamber, "you have passed the royal trial. In doing so, you have proven yourself not just to us, but as a true representative of humanity's potential." As the chamber erupted in a mix of cheers and astonished murmurs, Jack felt a profound sense of accomplishment, but he also knew that this was just the beginning. The real work, building a lasting bridge between Earth and the Zilvari, was yet to come. With the trial behind him and new challenges on the horizon, Jack stood tall, ready to face whatever the universe had in store for him next. Triumph of humanity. The days following Jack's successful completion of the royal trial were a whirlwind of activity. The Zilvari High Council, once divided on the issue of human involvement, now looked to Jack as a symbol of hope and a bridge between their two species. But for Jack, the true challenge was only beginning. As he stood on the observation deck of the Zilvari ship, Earth a blue marble in the distance, Jack felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Zora joined him, her presence a comforting reminder of how far he'd come. "So, what happens now?" Jack asked, his eyes fixed on his home planet. Zora's expression was a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Now, we make history. The High Council has agreed to open diplomatic channels with Earth, and they want you to be the ambassador." Jack turned to her, surprise evident on his face. "Me? But I'm not a diplomat. I'm just a guy who fixes phones." Zora finished, amusement in her voice. "You're far more than that now, Jack. You've proven yourself in ways no one thought possible. Who better to represent both our peoples?" Before Jack could respond, a commotion from the corridor caught their attention. Dr. Luria burst onto the observation deck, her eyes wide with excitement. "Jack, you need to see this." She activated a holographic display, showing a flurry of activity around the ship. The Kintara energy generated during the trial, it's having an effect on more than just the Queen. Our entire ship is experiencing a renaissance. The display showed Zilvari all over the ship discovering newfound abilities to manipulate Kintara. Systems that had been dormant for generations were springing to life, pulsing with vibrant energy. "It's as if your success has awakened something within our entire species," Dr. Luria explained, her voice filled with wonder. "The implications for our civilization are staggering." As Jack processed this information, a royal guard approached, bowing slightly. "Ambassador Hawkins, your presence is requested in the High Council chamber. It's time." Jack took a deep breath, straightening his posture. This was the moment everything had been leading to, the first official contact between Earth and the Zilvari. As he made his way to the council chamber, Jack's mind raced with the possibilities and challenges that lay ahead. The High Council chamber was packed when Jack arrived. Queen Seltara sat at the center, her form radiant with renewed energy. On a large view screen, Jack saw familiar faces, the Secretary General of the United Nations, along with representatives from major world powers. Queen Seltara's voice rang out, clear and strong. "Esteemed leaders of Earth, we come to you in peace and with hope for a new era of cooperation between our peoples. Allow me to introduce Jack Hawkins, a son of Earth who has become a hero to the Zilvari." Jack stepped forward, his heart pounding. This was it, the moment that would shape the future of both civilizations. He took a deep breath and began to speak. "Leaders of Earth, citizens of two worlds, I stand before you not just as a human or as a friend to the Zilvari, but as a bridge between our species. We stand on the brink of a new age, one of unprecedented discovery, cooperation, and growth." As Jack spoke, he could feel the Kintara flowing through him, lending weight and resonance to his words. He outlined the incredible advancements that could come from cooperation between humans and Zilvari, medical breakthroughs, technological leaps, and a deeper understanding of the universe itself. But he also addressed the challenges and fears that such a monumental change would bring. "Our differences are many, but our shared hopes and dreams unite us. Together we can forge a future brighter than either of our species could achieve alone." As Jack's speech concluded, a moment of silence fell over both chambers. Then slowly applause began to build, first from the Zilvari, then from the Earth representatives. The Secretary General stepped forward, a smile on her face. "Mr. Hawkins, Ambassador Hawkins, you have given us much to consider. On behalf of the people of Earth, we accept the Zilvari's offer of friendship and look forward to a future of mutual cooperation and understanding." The chambers erupted in cheers. Jack felt a wave of relief and excitement wash over him. This was only the beginning, but it was a beginning filled with hope. In the days and weeks that followed, Jack found himself at the center of a whirlwind of activity. He shuttled between Earth and the Zilvari ship, helping to establish the groundwork for cooperation between the two species. Scientists from both worlds began collaborative projects, while cultural exchanges helped foster understanding and friendship. There were challenges, of course. Fear and mistrust had to be overcome on both sides. But with each small victory, each breakthrough, the bonds between humans and Silvari grew stronger. One evening, as Jack stood once again on the observation deck, Earth and the Silvari homeworld both visible in the star-filled expanse, he felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Zara joined him, a warm smile on her face. "You've done it, Jack," she said softly. "You've changed the course of two civilizations." Jack shook his head, smiling. "No, we've done it. All of us together. This is just the beginning." As they looked out at the vast expanse of space, Jack realized that his journey had come full circle. He had started as just a guy who fixed phones, and in a way that's exactly what he had done on a cosmic scale. He had fixed the connection between two incredible civilizations. The future stretched out before them, filled with endless possibilities. And as the stars twinkled in the distance, Jack knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity and the Silvari would face them together. The end.